If you've come across different error codes and you're not 100% on what each of them means, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find error codes in long, complex formulas, what each error code means, and how to handle those errors when you do run into them. Let's start off by finding the error. In long, drawn-out formulas, it can be hard to debug, and in this one, we could see that the output is a pound and a. One way to debug this would be to highlight a variable or function and hitting F9 to see what the output would be. Hit escape to make sure that this formula doesn't save. And that was good, but there's too many variables. So an easier way to do that would be to click the formulas ribbon and click evaluate formula. From there, click evaluate very slowly so we don't miss anything. And keep on clicking this until we find the error. Wait, there it is. Now we can click that again. I think it was H24, but I'm not so sure. So let's just try it one more time. Yep, that's it. Next, let's go over pound ref errors. Now, if we reference cell D2, just a simple equals D2, and then we get rid of the column by hitting Control minus sign, it means that the formula is looking for a place that doesn't exist anymore. So just to show it again, we want to show F2 minus E2. If I wipe out F2 from the worksheet, that no longer exists. So that part of the formula translates to pound ref. Now that's one way to get the error, but there are more than one ways this can appear. Here we have some banks along with their rankings, and let's try to find what the ranking of JP Morgan is. So we're going to use JP Morgan as our lookup value. Our table's only going to have two columns, and we're going to look at the second column to get #1 ranking for JP Morgan. However, if I try to use a third column, because that doesn't exist in the lookup table, that gives you a pound reference also because it doesn't exist within the table array. Let's move on to pound, 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 pound. This actually isn't an error. It's Excel's way of saying, hey, there's a value in here that's bigger than the cell width. So easy way to solve it is to auto fit the columns, or if you want to just change the format into something that's a little easier to fit in the cell. Pretty easy. Let's move on to the pound name error. This basically means that you're trying to type a function that doesn't exist. So here you see I missed the second O in the lookup even though all the inputs are correct. So an easy way that we can avoid this is to start typing your function, and then once you see the autocomplete below, hit tab and let the machine type the rest for you. If you see this input box below, that usually means you're using at least a function, if not the right function. Next, value errors. This means that Microsoft Excel is expecting one kind of input, but gets something kind of unexpected. So in this VLOOKUP, instead of using the second column or a number, let's put something random in there. Let's try blue. Now you can see we get a value error, but if you're not sure where this is coming from, you can hit the FX button above, insert function, and you can see it right there all in red bold font. When I delete it, you can see it's expecting a number here. Otherwise, you'll get a pound value error. Now, just for your heads up, 0 and 1 can mean true or false. You can see here is false, here is true. But if I put 0, that equals false, and 1 equals true. They're the same thing, and that's why you see that in typical formulas. Div 0 errors next. This one's pretty easy. Let's start off by trying to generate the profit per share by dividing the total profits by the share amounts. Here you can see our obvious error. And this is because you can't divide 50,000 by 0. It's mathematically not possible. So there's two ways we can change this. One, fix the inputs so it makes sense. Let's undo that, Control Z. Or you could put a function called if error, and this basically means that if the first value is an error, let's default to the second value. So 0 would make sense to me here. And this one's going to take a little judgment on your side which one you want to use. Next, let's go with the infamous $NA. This typically appears during VLOOKUPs or any kind of lookup function in general. Here, we're going to try to find the ranking of Wells Fargo in this list of banks. Let's get this out of the way. And you could see that when we try to find the ranking, it returns a $NA because Wells Fargo is not in our list of banks. So a way we could solve this would be to implement an if error functions. That way there's a default value when the value is not found. Now that worked pretty well, but what if there's other kinds of errors besides $NA that we want to see? So let's go back and change this to Goldman Sachs, and we're going to try to replicate that #ref error from earlier by changing column index to 3. I want to see these #ref errors because that means there's something fundamentally wrong with my formula. So instead of if error, I'm going to change this to an if NA. Now, instead of defaulting to the default value, it's going to show us the actual error, which is a good thing. If you are confused about what exists, just type if and see what autocomplete shows you. There you can see the if error and if NA. Let's replace Goldman Sachs back to Wells Fargo. Another way we can solve this is by changing the entire formula to a single function XLOOKUP. This is only available in Microsoft Suite 365. It works very similar to a VLOOKUP, however, it does have a default value built into the function. So here, let's change this to not found like we had before. And there we go, same result. Lastly, let's look at spill errors. This is only an issue within Microsoft Suite 365 when you're dealing with dynamic arrays. So let's use the sort function to sort this list in ABC order. Now, if there is a populated cell that's blocking the array output, it will give you that spill error. And pretty easy to solve. All it's saying is please remove the populated cell. And there you go. Are there any other error codes that you want to learn about? And if so, give me a comment and let me know which ones you want to hear about. Otherwise, if this did help you out and you want to learn more, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.